You ever wonder what you'd do if the past came knocking, right when you thought you left it behind? That's exactly what happened to Jesse Carter when he took in a stranger on a stormy night. Little did he know, that stranger was hiding a secret worth millions, and the moment she stepped into his life, everything would change forever. The rain was relentless, a cold, gray curtain that drowned Millinsville in misery. Jesse Carter stood inside the gas station, his callous fingers clutching a crumpled $5 bill, his mind a calculator tallying what it could buy for him and Lily, his 6-year-old daughter. The flickering lights overhead buzzed, casting shadows on the linoleum floor where his muddy boots left faint tracks. Instant noodles? A loaf of bread? Maybe a candy bar to make Lily smile. His damp jacket clung to his frame, a reminder to sprint through the storm, and his stomach growled, betraying the meals he'd skipped to stretch their budget. Through the smudged glass door, he saw her, a woman hunched against the downpour, her thin frame trembling under a threadbare coat. She stood by the payphone, not dialing, just staring at the pavement like the world had forgotten her. Jesse's instinct was to turn away. He was drowning in his own problems. Rent was overdue, Lily's shoes pinched her toes, and the factory was slashing hours. But her hollow eyes, the way her hands shook, snagged something deep in him, a stubborn spark of compassion he couldn't snuff out. He bought a coffee and a pack of crackers, then grabbed a second coffee on impulse. Stepping into the rain, he called out, "Hey, you okay?" His voice barely cut through the storm. She flinched, her gaze snapping up, sharp and guarded, like a cornered animal. "Looks like you need this more than me." He offered the coffee, keeping his distance to avoid spooking her. She hesitated, then took it, her fingers brushing his, cold as the rain. "I'm Jesse," he said, offering a tired smile. "You got a place to go?" "Claire," she muttered, voice low, almost lost in the wind. "And no, nowhere." Her words carried a weight, a story she wasn't ready to tell. Jesse didn't pry. Instead, he made a reckless choice. "My place ain't fancy, but it's dry. Got a couch. My kid's there, so no funny business. Just a night out of this." Claire studied him, her eyes searching for a catch. After a long pause, she nodded and followed him to his rusted pickup. The drive to his cramped house was silent, the only sound a rhythmic slap of the wipers. Lily was asleep when they arrived, curled under a patchwork quilt on the living room floor, her crayons scattered like confetti. Jesse tossed Claire a towel and pointed to the couch. "Make yourself at home. I'll heat some soup." Claire watched him, her expression unreadable, but she didn't run. The house, with its peeling paint and creaky floors, offered a warmth that seemed to anchor her, if only for a night. Days passed and Claire stayed. She was quiet, her past a locked door, but she started helping, fixing a dripping faucet, patching a cracked window, teaching Lily to braid her doll's hair. Jesse noticed how Lily's giggles echoed more often with Claire around, how the house felt less like a sinking ship. He didn't ask about her history. He figured she'd open up when she trusted him, but he couldn't ignore the way she flinched at sudden noises or scanned the street like she expected trouble. One evening, as Jesse chopped carrots for a rare homemade stew, Claire sat at the kitchen table, sketching on a napkin. "You don't have to keep feeding me," she said abruptly. "I'm not your responsibility." Jesse shrugged, focused on the knife. "Never said you were. But Lily likes you, and you're pulling your weight. That's enough." Claire's pencil stilled, and for a moment, her guarded facade cracked, revealing a flicker of vulnerability, a hunger for belonging. Jesse was at the factory, hauling crates under the foreman's barked orders, when his co-worker Mike pulled him aside. "You hear about that Whitmore heiress? Vanished a few years back. Owns half the damn state. Land, factories, you name it. Cops are sniffing around, and there's a fat reward." Jesse wiped sweat from his brow, confused. "Why are you telling me this?" Mike grinned, tossing him a crumpled newspaper. "Just keep your eyes open, man. Could be your ticket out." That night, Jesse watched Claire as she read Lily a bedtime story, her voice soft, her smile genuine. She didn't look like an heiress, not in her faded sweater and scuffed boots. But Mike's words gnawed at him. He pushed the thought aside. Claire millionaire? Absurd. Still, doubt crept in, a shadow he couldn't shake. The storm broke on a Sunday morning. Jesse was flipping pancakes, the scent filling the house, when a black SUV rolled into the driveway. Two men in tailored suits stepped out, their polished shoes jarring against the muddy gravel. Lily, playing outside, darted in, eyes wide. "Daddy, fancy men are here." Jesse's got twisted. Claire, washing dishes, froze, her knuckles whitening on the sponge. "Jesse Carter?" One man asked, stepping inside uninvited. "We're looking for Claire Whitmore." Jesse's heart slammed against his ribs. He glanced at Claire, who stood rigid, her face drained of color. "Don't know any Whitmore," he said, voice steady despite the lie. The man produced a photo. Claire younger, in a sleek gown, her hair glossy, but unmistakably her. "This her?" The room tilted. Claire Whitmore? The heiress who owned half the state? Jesse's mind reeled, but Claire spoke first, her voice low and fierce. "I'm not going back." The men exchanged looks, one reaching for his phone. Jesse stepped forward, blocking them. She said no. "You got a problem, deal with me." His tone was calm, but his fists were clenched, ready for a fight. The men left, but the air was thick with betrayal. Claire sank into a chair, hands trembling. "I should have told you," she whispered. "I didn't want you to see me as a $sign. Jesse sat across from her, his jaw tight. "So tell me now, all of it." Claire's story poured out, jagged and raw. She was the last Whitmore, raised in a gilded cage of wealth and control. Her parents mapped her life. Private schools, curated friends, an arranged engagement to a tycoon son. "It was suffocating," she said, eyes distant. "I had everything, but I was empty. 3 years ago, I ran. Left the money, the name, all of it." She met Jesse's gaze, her voice breaking. "Then I met you. You didn't know me, didn't want anything. You just cared. I'd forgotten what that felt like." Jesse leaned back, grappled with the truth. Why stay here? You could buy a mansion, a private island. Claire's laugh was hollow. "Money doesn't fix lonely. You and Lily, you're real. You gave me a reason to stop running." Her words cut deep, echoing Jesse's own scars. Lily's mother walking out, the years of scraping by, the fear he'd fail his daughter. Here's the question that gnawed at Jesse, and it'll pull you in too. What do you do when the person you've let into your heart is a stranger, and their truth could unravel everything? Hold that thought. If this story is gripping you, like and subscribe for more, because the twists are just beginning. The weeks that followed were a tightrope. Jesse wrestled with trust, torn between the Claire he knew, quiet, kind, braiding Lily's hair, and the heiress she'd hidden. Lily, blissfully unaware, adored Claire, drawing pictures of their family and calling her auntie. Claire doubled down, throwing herself into the house, organizing the pantry, fixing the porch, planting a garden with Lily. Her actions spoke louder than her secrets, and Jesse's anger softened, replaced by something he wasn't ready to name. Jesse got a call at the factory. "Carter, you're promoted. Foreman. Better pay. Full benefits. Starts Monday." He blinked, stunned. "Who set this up?" The manager hesitated. Anonymous tip came from high up. Jesse hung up, his eyes finding Claire in the backyard, weeding with Lily. She glanced up, her expression guarded but knowing. That night, with Lily asleep, Jesse confronted her. "The job. My debts cleared last week. That was you, wasn't it?" Claire didn't flinch. "I wanted to help. You gave me a home, Jesse. Let me give you a chance." He shook his head, pride stinging. "I don't need charity." Claire stepped closer, her voice fierce. "It's not charity. It's family. You saved me. Let me save you." Jesse's walls cracked. He saw not pity in her eyes, but partnership, a shared fight for something better. Over the next month, Claire wove herself deeper into their lives. She taught Lily to read, cooked dinners with Jesse, shared quiet nights on the porch, their talks peeling back layers of pain and hope. Jesse, who'd vowed never to love again, felt his heart shift, drawn to Claire's resilience, her warmth, the way she made Lily's eyes light up. But the past wasn't done with them. One morning, a letter arrived, no return address. Inside was a single sentence. "You can't hide forever, Claire. We know where you are. Jesse found it on the counter. Claire's face ashen as she read it. Who sent this? He demanded. She shook her head, voice barely audible. My family, or someone they hired. They want me back to control me, my money, everything. Jesse's protective streak flared. They're not taking you. Not unless you want to go. Claire's eyes met his, a mix of fear and gratitude. I don't. I want this, us. It was the first time she'd said it aloud, and the weight of us hung between them, fragile but real. The third twist came quietly but hit hard. Claire started disappearing for hours, claiming errands, but her eyes were distant, her hands fidgety. Jesse suspected she was planning to run again, to protect them from her family's reach. He followed her one day, tailing her to a rundown office on the edge of town. Through the window, he saw her hand an envelope to a man in a cheap suit. Cash, he realized. She was paying someone, lawyers, maybe, or private investigators, to keep her family at bay. When he confronted her, Claire didn't deny it. I'm buying time, she said, voice steady but tired. They're closing in. I won't let them hurt you or Lily. Jesse grabbed her shoulders, his voice low. You don't fight this alone. We're in it together. For the first time, Claire didn't pull away. She leaned into him, and he held her. The world narrowed into the two of them. Claire funneled money into Millinsville, quietly funding a community garden called New Start. She insisted Jesse take credit, letting him become a local hero. The garden's opening was a celebration. Kids ran through sprinklers, neighbors shared food, and hope bloomed where despair had rooted. But the real battle was private. Claire's family sent another letter, this one with a legal summons, demanding her return to settle the Whitmore estate. Jessie stood by her as she met with a lawyer, refusing to bend. I'm done being their pawn, she said, signing papers to renounce her claim to fortune, keeping only enough to secure her freedom. On a crisp spring morning, the New Start garden thrived, flowers bursting with color. Jessie, Claire, and Lily stood together, not as a struggling dad, a runaway heiress, and a lonely girl, but as a family forged by choice. Claire had traded her wealth for a life she chose, and Jessie had let go of his pride to embrace a partner. Lily, laughing as she chased a butterfly, was their anchor, proof that love could heal what money never could.